Hello and welcome to Craft with Sarah and another layered cardstock design. Today I'm going to show you how to put together this layered birthday cake. This is a wonderful layered paper craft to make for, well, you guessed it, birthdays, either as a shadow box or on a greetings card, or you could even cut it out and stick it straight onto the wall for that extra little bit of birthday celebration. To get the free SVG, check the link in the description of the video or go to craftwithsarah.com/free-SVGs. Let's see how to load the design into Cricut Design Space. Once you've downloaded and unzipped the folder, start up Design Space and create a new project. Go into Upload on the left and then Upload Image. From there, you can either click Browse to find the file on your computer, or you can drag and drop it in. Make sure you choose the unzipped version of the folder, and then the file to upload is the one which starts SVG in the file name. Don't upload any of the other ones because they won't work properly in Cricut Design Space. If you're using Design Space, the one to choose is the one which starts SVG. So I'm going to click and drag that in. And then it should look like this with all of the layers one on top of the other. If yours looks different and you can see the layers next to each other instead, that means you've accidentally uploaded the wrong file. So if that's the case, click Cancel down on the bottom right and then try again and make sure you upload the one which starts SVG. Click Upload and then it will upload the file and then it will appear in your recent uploads. Click on it to get the green border around it and then press Add to Canvas. This already has all of the layers split out in the right hand side, so all you really need to do is resize the design before you cut it out. To resize, make sure the padlock icon above the width and the height boxes is closed. If it's open, you can simply click on it to close it. And that means when you change the size, so for example, let's go 7 inches and press Enter, it means the height will change in proportion, so everything stays looking exactly as it should. When you're happy with the size, press Make It on the top right, and then this splits everything out into the different colours. If you want to, you can change the paper size over on the left, and you do have to do that for every single colour. And you can also move things about, which can help to take up less of your craft materials because you can rotate things and move them around. Just make sure when you're doing it that nothing overlaps, otherwise it won't cut out properly. So you can see just by quickly moving those 3 things about, I'll now have all of this bottom piece of my white card, which I could use again for a different project. When you've made all your changes, click Continue, and then it will connect to your Cricut machine and follow the instructions on screen to get everything cut out from cardstock. Here are all of my layers for the birthday cake cut out, and I've laid them one on top of the other just to make sure I'm happy with the colours and that I haven't forgotten anything. I'm going to be sticking this together with a combination of 3D foam squares or foam pads and some glue. My foam pads are quite small, you can see them here. If yours are big, that's absolutely fine, you can just cut them smaller with a pair of scissors. The glue I'm using is called Collall, and I really like this because it doesn't bend or wrinkle the cardstock like other glues can do. And I put it into these needle tip applicator bottles, which I get on Amazon. These are amazing for layered designs because the tiny little needle tips can get in all of these tiny places really easily. As with all my layered designs, we need to start at the bottom and work upwards. So I'm going to move some of these layers apart from each other. And I'm going to try and keep them vaguely grouped together in sensible ways. So I'm kind of taking off the similar colours together, and then we're left with the very bottom 2, which is this yellow piece and then the solid white to go on top, and this white is going to be stuck on with foam squares. Included in your download folder is a PDF called Assembly Guide, and that contains little pictures for every single layer, and it tells you the order in which to stick them and whether to use glue or foam for each of those layers. So check that out for a quick and easy guide to refer back to. And because it's a PDF, it means you can print it for if you want to have a printed copy next to you whilst you're crafting. As well as putting your foam squares around the edge of the shape of card, you also want to put some in the middle, like I'm about to start doing now. And the reason for that is that if there was nothing in this middle section here, then the card would probably dome downwards under the weight of itself because there wouldn't be anything there to keep it flat. So by putting these foam squares in the middle, we're giving it a stable platform to sit on, which means it's going to stay perfectly flat and look much better when it's all done. Now I need to peel the tops off of these foam pads to release all of the stickiness underneath. I can pick that one up, and then I'm going to use the bottom to line this up, and also the strings of the balloon. And I'm going to get it to where I think is the right position, and then just gently drop it down. And the reason I've done that would be if I had misjudged it and it wasn't quite lined up right, I could easily pick this piece up again and then try again and it won't damage anything. Whereas if you were to stick it on straight away and then realise it wasn't aligned, then it's much harder to separate the two pieces again to give it another go. But that's looking pretty good to me, so I'm going to push down to seal. The next piece to add is this yellow bit, which is going to make the flames of the candles. And this one's going to be glued on as it will end up being covered in most of the places by the other layers. So we're just going to glue this on so it doesn't get in the way of anything else. You can use the top of the cake and the edges of the candles to know where to put it. We're going to start with a solid layer, and both of these are actually going to be glue layers. So I'm going to add my glue to the back. These are a little bit fiddly because of the fact that that big balloon isn't actually connected to anything down the bottom. So you just need to be careful when you're turning it over. And also you've got this join here, which holds quite a lot of weight when you pick it up. So just make sure you don't tear it. I think I have actually torn mine because I was not being careful. Let's see. It's just about still holding. If it does tear, it doesn't really matter because you can just stick both of the pieces on and it will still look absolutely fine. Okay. Then I'm going to glue the other piece of green on, and again you've still got that little point where it might tear, so just keep an eye on it. Putting my glue on here. And this is the layer that's adding those stripes into this big balloon. Oh no, actually the other big balloon. I just pointed at the wrong one, didn't I? I get confused when stuff's upside down. Okay, so I did not do that very well, but luckily because this was glued, I've got that little bit of wiggle room to move it about and put it back into position. There. All right, next we've got these blue ones, and I'm going to start, I just knocked my glue over, start with the solid one, and again, this is another glue layer. So we're going to be gluing all of these 4 bits, and then the cake on top is going to be where we're adding the foam squares again. Because this is quite a lot of layers of card, a lot of individual pieces, even though we are just gluing them for the main cake, you're still going to get a lot of depth just because we're adding so many different sheets in. Here is that one. And then the next one is that back piece of this balloon. Let's get it right this time with the polka dots. Gonna stick that on there. And that is the balloons and the candles done. So now we can move on to the cake itself. And I'm going to start with the very bottom layer, which is the biggest one, this sort of creamy coloured one, which is going to be my main cake. And because I don't want this to get too far away from the sort of filling of the cake in there, I'm going to make this one a glue layer too. Right, now we can move on to the fun bits with the foam squares. And to start, I've got the white icing at the top, which I will add foam to. And of course, if you did want more depth and dimension than what I'm doing, you can add foam to whichever layers you want. It's completely up to you how you want to build your paper craft. First, the big one. No, the little one. Then the big one. So the big one will go on there. And again, this one I'm going to foam. I need to think about what I'm saying more, but I'm also trying to concentrate on what I'm doing. Line that up with the drips and the very top there. Next are the icing pieces to go on top, and these are what's going to show that white through all of the little sprinkle holes on the icing. We're gluing these because if you were to foam it, then the shadow that it creates with the depth would fill in all of the holes of the sprinkles, so it would look grey in all of those sprinkles. And we don't want grey sprinkles, that's not very appetizing. We want white sprinkles. So by gluing it, you get much less shadow and you can see the white through better. Finally, we have our cake plate, and the big piece at the bottom we will add foam to. Line this up along the bottom of the design, gently drop it down, and then push to seal when you're happy. Next is this layer, which is going to go on there, and this one I'm going to glue because it's just adding that detail and the kind of shadowing to the glass dish. So this one will be glued, and line it up along the top, because that bottom piece doesn't actually touch the very bottom of the design. And then the next piece is the remaining darker bit, and this one I will add the foam to, because this is kind of creating the lip on the glass dish where it would naturally sort of come out from the base. So it will look more realistic if we've got foam on this bit. One more piece to go, which is just the very top of the dish, and this is a glue layer. Add a little bit of glue down there, and then stick it again. We're aligning it to that top. And that is looking good. So there we go, our layered birthday cake is now all finished and ready to go on a greetings card, in a shadow box, or even stuck straight up on the wall. Whatever you're going to do with it, I'm sure it will look wonderful. I hope you enjoyed this video on how to make a layered papercraft birthday cake. If you did, please give it a thumbs up using the little button below the video, and subscribe to my YouTube channel for loads more Cricut crafts and free SVGs. Thank you for watching. Bye!